Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today I'm going to go over do our daily technical analysis of uranium. We're going to go over the physical Sprott, WRNM, which is the ETF, and then go over the individual companies. I'll give you my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice, but I'll give you my opinion here and what I'm seeing in the charts. So I'm going to dive right in. I'm going to go into the Sprott physical uranium chart right here. We were playing with this downtrend line right here, which is resistance. We tried breaking up above it. It got sold off today. So what this is signaling, and this is a bearish engulfing pattern, is that we did not break and close above this resistance line, and it is still resistance. We closed down, and we closed down kind of strong. We could have more of a pullback left, potentially. Remember, the short term can do anything. The long term still looks fantastic. Everything's intact, but we could pull back here in the short term. And if people, I know I was reading some comments like, "Oh my God, what happened?" Guys, this is what the markets are. If they're not ready to give you gains, it's not ready to give you gains yet. We're still, looks like, has some selling pressure. Does that mean that I'm going to sell anything? No, it doesn't mean. That's why I cost average in. I cost averaged in on this day, hoping that this is the momentum that we could break. It did not break yet, and we're back below this trend line. We could very well go above it tomorrow. We don't know, but statistically speaking, this is a bearish engulfing pattern, which means we could head lower. URNM coming on up. So we broke the downtrend line. So that's step one. We had the reversal candlestick. We broke up above it. We were trying to run. Got a nice little sell off today. We want to stay back, and we could get a return move somewhere back here. We could also, and I'll kind of draw it out, we could do something that looks like this. Something like that. And I don't even know what I just drew there. Let me see if we can have I want the brush. So we could easily do something that goes back and forth. Oh, I've got the highlight on. Let me turn that off. So we could easily go back and forth like this before moving up. And I think that's probably what we're going to do. If Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, if this thing does pull back, I think it's going to put pressure, selling pressure on the mining companies. So we could pull back. We could. It's in the cards, but we have broken our downtrends. Mixed signals. Here's Bannerman, big old bullish engulfing, talking about mixed signals. This thing looks good to actually move on up from a charting perspective if you were just looking at this one chart and one chart only. Goviax is looking okay. A little bit of a bearish sell-off here, but we've broken this little downtrend here. Nice, good reversal move, and it's looking okay. We'll probably have a couple little down days. Again, I think we're going to come downward, go sideways, and then move up. That's probably what we're going to do. Global Atomic, yep, a little bit of a sell-off today. Nothing like a huge reversal candlestick pattern or anything. You know, maybe we're trying to do something on the lines of, you know, something like that, where we go sideways for a little bit and then go up higher. I'll leave this all drawn in there, see if that actually plays out like that. We've got Forces Metals putting in kind of a bearish engulfing pattern. This could go a little bit lower. Maybe we try to back test here on this support line. It does look like we're squaring up a little bit, where we were coming down and we came back up, and maybe we square up this thing and move sideways. Here's Pure Point Uranium. Again, we've broken the downtrend line. And I wouldn't be fretting yet. I'd only be afraid if we break back below the downtrend, but we're doing okay. We just got to hold through here, and hopefully we go sideways. Deep Yellow, I mean, you can see the contraction here where this thing, let me back out here real quick. Let me get this. There we go. We broke the downtrend. We're coming up. We're probably going to have a down day tomorrow. We're probably going to cycle back and forth. Something on the lines like this. And then here's your downtrend line like that. So we're probably going to cycle back and forth, something on the lines of that. Sky Harbor tried to break out of its resistance area. We got some sellers, ran into some sellers. Again, the downtrend line's still broken. We're trying to move, and it's probably going to chop sideways for a little bit underneath this support or resistance. Next gen energy getting sold off a little bit. We're still at this support area. We're still above the downtrend line. Here is our support resistance line, and we're going back and forth above and below it. I think we're going to chop sideways a little bit before moving up. Canalaska, again, we broke the downtrend line. That's good. We reversed higher, and we're getting a little bit of selling pressure. Probably going to move sideways for a little bit. And what that's called is called squaring up the move. Downtrend, break it, square it up, and then move higher. And if I back out here, you're going to see that kind of happen where you come into a corner here, and then it squares it up for a little bit, and then it goes. It's going to come down, it's going to square it up a little bit, and then go. So everything's looking good. It still looks okay to me. Here's base load. Looking at base load on a 1 year here. Zoom in a little bit more. We're coming on up, and we could roll back over a little bit. If you look at the daily candlesticks, we got these wicks at the top. I think we're going to square up this move, kind of move sideways a little bit, and probably try to make an uptrend out of it. Fission 3.0. Big up days, smaller down days, still looks pretty good. Zooming in on it, we've broken the downtrend line. We're closing above it. It still looks pretty good to me. Fission, Uranium Corporation. This guy's looking good. Downtrend line's broken. We're moving sideways. We got nice, good reversal candlestick with the hammer pattern, big up day, bullish engulfing. And we're just hitting some resistance right now. So we're just grinding sideways at the moment. Bumping and grinding sideways. Let's see if we can throw a line in here. I think we got a line there. We got a line there. And then we got a line that splits this kind of in the middle there. So we're coming on down. We're in this pullback here, and I think we're going to eventually break out of it. Just give it time. Because that's prom. This one's trying to square itself up. This one's looking better. It is trying to break this downtrend. We're right there at that resistance support line. We gotta move on up if we want to break it and stay above it. Peninsula broke its downtrend. It's still looking okay. Small down today, not bad for today. And then Boss Energy, this thing is all over the place. Big up days, big down days. It's going all over the place there. Not really much to say there. We've got Lotus Resources. Downtrend line, we broke to the upside. We're still holding. It looks okay at the moment. Doesn't look too bad. Uroy sold off a little bit today. It's okay, Uroy. We still love you. So here's your breakthrough, the downtrend line. We're doing a retest of that breakout. So it comes back and tags the line again, uses it as support. And this is usually a good spot to actually buy it at. Because you break out, you do a retest, and then usually it goes. Looking at the daily candlestick, it went down. It's got a little bit of a wick at the bottom. Doesn't look too bad. It's okay. It's not a reversal candlestick pattern or anything. Encore Energy, it's still above kind of this area. I'm just looking down here because you probably got something that looks like that. So we got another support area down here that it's been bouncing off of. I figured I'd look back a little bit, but it looks good. We've closed above the downtrend line. We're closing above it. It's all good. It's all in play. This thing's all over the place. I don't know which way this thing's going. It's going sideways at the moment. URG broken its downtrend. It's still squaring up the move to move on up. It's trying to digest this momentum to the downside. And I think it's going to have to go sideways for a little bit before moving up. It's called squaring the move up. And that's kind of what it looks like there. UEC, let's zoom back in there on the 1 year. We're between a support line and a resistance line. It's right in between the two. Looking at it, you can see it just going back and forth. Doesn't know what to do because you're hitting your head on this resistance line. And you've got support underneath that's buying it up. Getting squeezed in there. Centrus Energy, nice little pull down move, and it's coming on back. Let me look at the 1 year on this thing. weird looking chart because we broke to the downside here. We're like coming back up. This thing could roll back over. It could go anywhere. This could be a shoulder, head, shoulder developing where we come all the way back down, probably up to about $42 potentially. And then we do another one and maybe we retest the breakout. I don't know. This could be a shoulder, head, shoulder. And if I were to draw it in, it would look something like this. Maybe. And that's kind of what I'm thinking could potentially happen here is you get one of these guys with the neckline underneath here. Will that play out? Don't know. And then we come back down here, basically to the breakout, and then we move on up. It'd be a good buying opportunity. Looking at ISO energy, we did a little squeezy up into the corner here, popped higher. Yeah, we had a down day today. It's a return move. That's pretty normal. We'll see what happens in the short term, how this thing plays out. Here's the 1 month. Here's the descending wedge, broken to the upside, coming back. It's okay. Nothing's broken here. Everything's okay. This guy's running into some resistance. I'll move that to the right here. Should be like that. It's trying to break back into the pattern. The thing that I'm scared of, and I'm not really scared, but we came down, we pulled back up. We have to break back above this and get back in the pattern. If we don't break back into it, this is a return move of the breakout, and we could see a much lower move very soon if it doesn't break back up into it. So that's what it looks like. It tried breaking up and it kind of sold back off. So it's within the realm for this to come all the way back and come back here if we have a market problem, if there is one. I'm not calling for it. I'm just saying it's a possibility. We have to watch and see. Here's DNN, and guys, we are breaking these patterns to the downside. So it's possible. I mean, I'm saying that we could rally, but it's possible that these end up going lower. I mean, that is a possibility. All we can do is buy these low moves. You cost average in a little bit, you come up, and sometimes they fail and they come back down. It's possible. But right now, we're still above the trend lines. Everything looks okay to potentially try to move higher. Blue sky looks like it's breaking down a little bit. And we've got the large pattern here, and this could, if this doesn't hold, I mean, I'm assuming that it'll hold. And if the market conditions, the greater market conditions in the short term don't hold, this could break to the downside. I'm just leaving the possibilities open. And Forum Energy Metals, we're still in the downtrend line. We kind of came up and broke through everything. We're trying to come up. We could tag this line and come back lower. It's a possibility. And I know people don't like hearing that, but that's where we're at. And then this is Laramide. Laramide's got a bullish engulfing pattern. Usually that ends up moving on up. We have broken to the downside of this pattern. There is still downside risk if that support doesn't hold. We have more support at 47 cents, and the projected move is actually all the way down to 41 cents or so. If we zoom in on this, I'm seeing like a resistance line coming through here that it's trying to break in the short term. And that's what we're trying to break through. We want to close above it. We want to close above 71 cents and get out of here. But it has equal chance to break down as well. But the candlestick here with the bullish engulfing is a positive development where we could go higher. We have another, this is the bullish engulfing here. This is the hammer pattern. Let's see if we can get some momentum to the upside. And again, guys, remember, my time frames are 5 to 10 years. So what I'm using is we're looking at the short-term analysis. These have broken to the downside. There could be more downside left in it. No one knows how much downside is left. We have a projection move. They're all lower than where we are at today. That's a fact. Whenever I see strength and I start seeing strength to turn back up and break these downtrend lines, that's when I add a little bit. It's an automatic. because it's showing strength. It could potentially be a bottom. I add a little bit in. It's not like I even think. It is a strategy that I have. You add a little bit in. If it comes back down even more, you add a little bit in later. That's how it works. And I'm accumulating assets at very low valuations the entire time. The valuations in uranium in relationship to gold and other assets are super cheap. They're ridiculously cheap. We had a down day in energy overall as well. So some of these got probably dragged down with the oil market, oil and natural gas stocks. So is this a bottom here? Some of these have downtrends breaking, but I can tell you this. This Sprott Physical Uranium Trust chart does not look inspiring to me. Does not look inspiring me with this big bearish engulfing. They tried breaking out, and it got sold off all the way throughout the day and ended pretty low in a very, I'd say, bearish way. I'm not doing anything with my shares. I'm not selling anything. I think we're at the beginning of a bull market. Does it mean that every single month is going to be an up month? No, it doesn't mean that. You're going to have to ride through volatility. That's exactly what we have right here. There's a lot of people that are afraid. They're scared of something. I don't know what they're scared of. Maybe it's the variant. Maybe it's further lockdowns. Maybe it's all that stuff. And you know what? Maybe they're rightfully so. Maybe they have it right, and that we're going to see downside. That very well could be. The only way that they can slow down the demand for oil and some of this inflation is to lock people down. They know that. And if they're going to try to slow down the inflation, they're going to blame it on some variant. That's kind of my opinion on it. I think it's the wrong thing to do, but I mean, I'm not the one running things. So in the short term, you could see this pull back. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we're hitting right up on that resistance. Now, buyers could come in here any second, push this thing higher. So I've always taken the stance of let it ride. Let it ride. I don't need this money. I'm not leveraged up. I own these shares, and I continue to buy them when the opportunities present themselves. Descending wedges, broken downtrends. I'm going to continue to add and sprinkle in all over the place. Why do I do that? Because that could be a bottom. And I'm buying into strength. That strength could carry us through. We get a nice, good movement. I can't tell you exactly, and no one can. No one can tell you this, and I'll do an entire clip on all that. Where the market's going to go in the short term. If you did, then why are 90+% of people losing money in the short term? This is why almost everyone who's been in the markets for a very long time adopts longer term patterns. And then you try to find breaking points. What we're doing is we're monitoring like gold and silver and uranium daily. What you normally do if you're looking for setups is you don't monitor something, let's say on a daily. Like I'd look at this and I would say, if I were to look at this chart right now at a short-term perspective, I would say that it's bearish. It's not bullish at this exact time, because today it posted a bearish engulfing pattern on Sprott Physical Uranium Trust today. Now, I wouldn't have known that 3 days ago. So if you're a very, very short-term trader, I would have bought 3 days ago on this bottom here. I would have bought right at the tip of this triangle. I would have said buy here, ride it up, and I would have sold on this day here because it has a wick at the top. It's at resistance, and I would say there's no point of staying in this. It's at that resistance point. I'm going to sell it, and that's probably what people did today. Does it mean that this thing's just going to rocket lower? Maybe, maybe not. The short term, anything can move these things around, and that's why I don't play the short term. I play the long term game, and that's why I don't want to play the short term game, because you're going to be all just freaking out, going in and out, making people very rich and mistiming things. It's very difficult to do it. Over 90% of people on the short term do not make money. Our technical indicators are 60, 70% right, maybe 60% right at the time. If you can stack a whole bunch of things up, you can raise that a little bit, maybe 70, 80%. But that's the best you can do. And short term, you could have news roll in here and just knock all this stuff down or up. You can go either way. But looking around the world, and I'm going to release some information about energy, the energy crisis, and what's going on. I think long term, it's got incredibly good fundamentals. The charts also, technically, from a big picture view, also look very good from a technical perspective. So everything's aligning. for a long-term bull market. Short term, though, we could see some pressure to the downside in the short term or sideways action. So downward to sideways is kind of what I see in the short term based off of today's trading action. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.